Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hopefully you are doing well. Thanks for coming on by. Just going to check and make sure that my audio and everything is working correctly. I definitely started the wrong stream this morning, and so it's been a rough start. But hey, I'm going to listen to my show real quick on my brand new iPhone. I'm a little low, hey? And maybe the music's just too loud. Maybe the music is still playing, so we're going to turn that off. Okay, so the automation doesn't work on my music channel. Just found that out, so that's fun. Man, I was racing around the house this morning trying to find a hat. I definitely haven't done anything with my hair this morning. I was like, I'll just grab a hat for the show. This is a hat from my kid's school, and it's technically mine. I bought it, but man, I don't wear it. So this is a different hat. Let's see if I can straighten it all. It like really interferes with my glasses, so it's a mess. It's a mess. But anyway, I don't know. It's not the greatest. Today is haircut day. We're gonna cut the hair before we go to camp, and check that out. Let's see now what we sound like. I see Angus is here. Okay, it sounds pretty good otherwise. This is a brand new phone that I just picked up, ordered last week. After I got done hanging out with you guys, I was like, I'm curious, and I went on the website for my wife, and sure enough, she was eligible for a new phone. So I went through all the process to get that done, and then she's like, well, what about you? And I was like, I don't really need a new phone. I don't think that I'm due yet for one anyways. And I looked, and sure enough, I was. So I was like, well, let's see how much an upgrade would cost. And it's like $5 a month or something. So I was like, okay, might as well go for that. And I will return my iPhone 13 in exchange for an iPhone 17 Pro Max. So it's like having a tablet in your pocket, basically. The thing is a monster compared, and it's only like, I don't know, another half an inch or an inch or something like that. But it just feels like last night I was laying in bed and I needed to check something, and I pulled it up and it was like, oh, jeez, this thing is so big. If it falls on my face, it's going to break my nose. So it's not really a use in the bed type of device. We're just going to leave it on the side stand. But anyways, I do have a new device. Here is my old phone, and now I'm monitoring my new one here. It's almost like you can't even really tell, but it is substantially larger when you're used to looking at it this close anyway. So all good. We're gonna return the old one, upgrade to the new one. Always nice to do a little upgrade, and it's only been, I don't know what, 4 years or 5 years since I've had a new phone. So there it is. Good morning, Angus. Always a pleasure to see you. I started the wrong show this morning, and that's on me. I was putting in future shows that are coming up because I had a couple ideas, not like groundbreaking ones, but I had a couple ideas, and sure enough, I clicked go on the wrong one. And that's just me not being very conscious. Whoa, what is going on here? My channel is like freaking out. Let's restart this. Okay, here we go. So you may have noticed before I had to delete the program that I am going to do a show, and this is a shout out to Angus, actually, who is here in the chat. Hey, there he is. Hey, there you are. Music's still going, but I'll figure it out one of these days. I got to get the automation working because that was definitely wrong. Anyway, we will. Let's go down this path real quick. So in like a month, which is when the third show will be, I'm going to do this show, which is I'm headed into the woods in Northern Ontario, and I'm taking some tech along with me. But the point of going into Northern Ontario is to like leave the tech behind. Now, I'm in a bit of a unique position here because I have a couple of things that I try and do with each camping trip, which is basically document as much of it as I can and get some things and footage for next year's trip so that when it comes time to do promotional stuff or building social media posts or whatever, I have some material to go with. So photos are great. Videos are also good. I'm actually also constructing for the week after I get back. The deadline is the 13th or 14th or something like that, because on the 15th there is a group of people who are doing a spotlight on certain Christian camps in Southern Ontario, and they've asked me to submit. Actually, they asked me to attend, but I'll have just gotten back here. So I'm going to make them a video that they can play about Manitou, about the camp that I run. And it'll be great. But I'm going to need some footage for that because, I don't know what I'm probably going to use this set here and this rig, and then record it and do basically like Ken Burns voiceover photos and videos where I can. So I need to get some video footage of camp this year, and so I'm going to need some technology to do that. And my primary candidates for cameras are going to be my new iPhone 17 Pro Max, which is got pretty great lenses on it compared to my 13, that's for sure, and my Canon Canon camera that I use for this show. So after today, I will take this camera rig down and put it inside a Pelican case, much like this one, except one that's a little deeper, that will basically make my rig watertight. Now this used to be the house for a GoPro system that I had. We had, this was like a GoPro 3 or something like that, a long time ago, and watertight stuff and mounts. Looks like we had a 2 gig SD card in here at one point. So yeah, it's a bit dated. I don't really go through this rig much anymore. Some batteries and some quick little attachments, but it was very convenient to have. Whoops, I gotta turn down the volume on this computer. It was very convenient to have all of that stuff when I used to use GoPros up at camp. And a matter of fact, I think camp purchased this GoPro, but it hasn't been used in years. The batteries are dead. So a GoPro, here's what, when we start talking about technical stuff, and I'll go down this road in a minute. I want to kind of do a setup for the next few weeks. A GoPro is a good idea for an adventure like this, but only really for B-roll, I find. If you're going to do any talking, or if you're going to do any single camera operator stuff, or you're going to do any interviews or stuff like that, an iPhone or a mobile phone with a camera on it is much better than having like a GoPro, because a GoPro is going to bend the image and do like a fisheye or even an ultra wide lens on it. And yes, you can crop it, and yes, you can, the new ones. I found though that I thought I would use this GoPro a lot more than I did, and I really didn't. The setup took a long time, to get the mount, to get the thing stable, to get it. I did some time lapses, for example, from my very old house way back in the day to maybe it was from the school back to my home, or I forget what it was. I'll look it up here real quick. Anyways, I did some time lapses, and those were cool, but they were pretty gimmicky. You know what I mean? They were. I wouldn't use that all the time for building videos out, and so I just decided it's not really going to work. Let me look at my studio and see. Oh my gosh, why is that so loud? Maybe it's this. Maybe okay. Sorry, guys. I got guys on Teams reaching out to me this morning with some valuable information that I have requested from them. Anyway, I have built videos over the years, and I thought the GoPro would have been a really good answer, but turns out that I didn't use it as much as I thought I would, and I used it a couple of times for, I think I used it for some vlogs that I did early on, but I really found it's so much easier with the phone because it's so much faster to just fire that up. You just basically turn it on, click record, you record, and then you're done. So yeah, it ended up not really being very useful, and we eventually just kind of stopped using it. It's still here, and I had a Pelican case for it and everything like that, but I might buy, that's a great idea. I might buy a new foam for this Pelican case and then put my other stuff my cell phone and a few other items in there, so it's just all in a watertight container. Okay, next few weeks though, let's back up just a shade here, and I'm going to open the chat. I'm just going to take a look at the chat again just to make sure I'm up with you. Hey, let's go camping. Yes, that is the plan, to go camping very soon. Hey, this sounds good on my phone. Excellent. I know that Michael Graves posted on a previous live stream, hey, the audio is really low. But in the live show, you guys had said it sounded fine. So just do a double check for me. It's a tablet in your pocket, or are you now $1,000 poor? Eventually, I will be $1,000 poor. But I really do feel like I got my value out of this. This phone, I think it was $800 new. You know, I paid for it over some time through a Verizon plan or whatever. But it's been 4 years. So like when I started using a new phone, I was like, oh, like there's a lot of, I felt very old. First of all, I was like, oh, there's a lot of features here that I'm unaware of. And oh, this has 3 lenses for some reason. What on earth am I going to do that? And then my wife was like, zoom in on the bird out there in the woods, like in our backwoods. And I was like, okay. And I like zoomed in. It was like plus 10, plus 30, plus 40. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So it is a digital zoom past 8 times optical, which is cool. But she's really into watching birds. So she's like, this is a great camera. Like she got the 17 Pro. And she just said, yeah, this is such a great camera for watching birds. I was like, oh boy, we're going to have lots of bird pictures in our Amazon photos. That's why I don't create more than one show at a time, especially when other people are involved in my live stream. Hey, audio levels sound pretty good. Oh, thank you, Angus. Appreciate that. Yes. All right. So I've got to build a video for a group that's going to do like a highlight for our camp, which we've never had done before. So this will be new territory, but I think it'll take me probably 4 or 5 hours to build out, write the script, build out. I've got the history. I'm going to consult some of the guys that are at camp who have been there longer than me, and I'm going to get a complete kind of script. I'll finish that when I get home. I'm not going to plan on doing that. Maybe I'll do that in the hotels while I'm traveling home. But then I'm going to hit the ground running. And camp is, I'm back on the 6th, but then the presentation's on the 15th. So I've got basically 1 week to get it done, and I cannot tarry much longer on this project. All right. So when I get back, so I'm assuming, by the way, that the next few weeks, so the 30th, I will be traveling into Canada that day. Into Canada that day. I'm headed for Waterloo, Ontario, if you know where that is, near Kitchener. And then, so I'm going on the 30th, I'm traveling to Ontario. And then on the 6th, I'm coming back from camp. So that whole week, we go in on the Friday on 24, on the 31st, 24th tomorrow. On the 31st, we go into camp, and I'm the director of camp, so I'm trying to keep all of the plates spinning in the air. But the 24th week... the 31st we go in. I'll get it right one of these days. And on the 5th we come out. So I come all the way back. I think I'm going to go to Sarnia. I was tempted to go to Bowling Green, Ohio on that first day. But if you want to see where I'll be traveling, it'll be Temagami, Ontario, to North Bay, to Brampton, to Waterloo, and then to a hotel somewhere. So that total trek can easily turn into 12 hours if I'm going to go to Bowling Green. And I can even do one better. Let's just pull up a map real quick, a Google map, and I'll share my screen momentarily. All right, so Temagami is a very small town in northern Ontario. It's actually a region more than it is a town, but it is a town. It's like 1,100 people. Yes, I said 1,100 people. And is there a way I can... here we go. So Temagami is this area here, and the city of Temagami is going to be just after where this forks here. We're going to go up, and the actual town is on the edge of this lake. So there's like a little flag right here. This is the metropolis known as Temagami, and then there's Temagami North. Then I will be leaving out of Temagami. All right. Where would you like to go? So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to say North Bay, which isn't really that far. Okay, it's like 2 hours or an hour. Yeah, it's an hour from there. And then out of North Bay, we're headed to Brampton, and this is just to drop somebody off, my dad. And then out of Brampton, we're headed to Waterloo, which again, there's some kind of driving around to do. And then this is the question, do we go to Bowling Green, Ohio? And the reason I kind of want to go to Bowling Green is because it's across the border. It's all the way through Michigan, which it's going to be super late if I do this. Okay, here we go. 10 hours without any time at the stops, which there will be. There'll be 2.5, 3, probably 3 hours in stops plus border time. So this is turning into a 13-hour drive if everything goes as planned. But anyway, so the other option is to go to Sarnia, which I stayed at Sarnia last year, or Monroe. Okay, I stayed in Monroe one year, and that wasn't a great experience. Monroe, Michigan, it's exit 15 on 75 southbound in Michigan, as I said 3 times now. It just wasn't a great experience. Pretty smelly area. Yeah, it's lots of drugs are legal in Michigan. So the 2 years ago I stayed in Monroe. Last year I stayed in Sarnia, but Sarnia is north, right? So it's up here by Swiss Chalet. It's up here by Port Huron. And there's a place here, but the reason I stayed here last year is I was spending a day in Rochester, which is our previous stomping ground, as you can tell by all these tags, our previous stomping grounds. And so I was doing some work with Safe Harbor, and so I went across the 402 into Port Huron and then down into Rochester that next morning. I don't need to do that this year. I can come straight home on Thursday, which is going to be a doozy of a day, which is another reason why I'm going to try and get to Bowling, which I thought maybe I should get to Bowling Green. Because if I get to Bowling Green, that puts me into Ohio. It's a lot quieter. It's a college town, but it's a lot quieter here. And this is I don't know why it's there. But anyways, there are hotels right here off of I-75. And that would probably be ineffective. Why did it do that? Can I just change this location to here? Yeah, there we go. So, we're still looking at 10 hours plus 3 hours in stops and bathroom breaks and Tim Hortons stops and gas, filling up in gas. Every time I stop for gas is 15 minutes. I probably have to do that 100%. I'm going to have to do that at North Bay. But I will also then probably go all the way down to London, which is here on the 401, and London's right here, and probably get gas somewhere in here, and then go on, probably get some gas in there, and then go on and then get gas in the States because it's substantially cheaper, and I make American dollars, and so I don't have to do any conversion. Anyway, so that will be my trek. But I am very tempted to go to Bowling Green because if we were to go again, and I were to put in Bowling Green, Ohio, and then I were to get directions from Bowling Green, Ohio to, let's just say, Fairview, Tennessee, this will be the trek I'm doing on Thursday. Oh my gosh. It's another 8 hours. So, I'm gonna get up and get going on Thursday. It'll be so late getting to the hotel. I'll probably just crash. So there won't be any time at the hotel to do any script writing or anything like that. But if I can get up and get on the road by 8 a.m. or better, then I will also gain an hour because I'll cross time zones. But I could be home by 6, 7 if I just put it down. That's 484 miles is one tank of gas. It's less than one tank of gas in the truck. So I could fill up in gas on the next morning. If I got gas in London, then I could go to the hotel in Bowling Green, get gas the next morning, and go home. Yeah, that would be quite the trek. But, we could make it happen. We could make that work. If I wanted to do this other highway, what highway is this? Highway 69, and going down around, just staying on 69 the whole way. It's an extra hour, so no thanks. But man, I do not appreciate driving through Louisville. That's not really my fave. We did do this trek one year where we went through here and we normally do this, go around the city, spit you out near the airport, and then if you could do this one though, go here instead. Yeah, it only adds like 2 minutes, but you get on 265 and you go all the way around the whole city, and it spits you out behind the airport, which is better because this entry, I don't know why I'm telling you all this, but this is quite a mess. So anyways, one day is going to be 13 hours and the next day is going to be like 8 or 9 hours. So it's going to be taxing, and it'll be a doozy. So lots of coffee will be involved. I'm pretty excited about that. The good news is that I really enjoy driving, and it's a blessing my father gave me, I think, because he really likes to drive. And so I just put on a podcast and off I go. And, then I pick up somebody in Actually, I spend the night at a friend's house in Waterloo, and him and I just listen to podcasts all the way to Waterloo, Ontario. And that happens, that's over 2 days. So the first day I go up to Ohio, and then I go up to Waterloo from there. That's 2 6-hour days. And then the next day is basically 6 or 7 hours into camp by the time, man. All right, I got to take a segment and talk about this for like 10 more minutes. This year's camp is absolutely bursting at the seams, which is one of the great things about maybe doing video this year, capturing some video like B-roll. So when I'm talking about camp for that historical society that I'm doing the video for, I can add a lot of B-roll shots and they can see what's going on in camp. The video needs to be like 15 or 20 minutes. And I'm going to do 5 to 7 minutes on history, on like where we've been. And then I'm going to talk about the 5 to 7 minutes on what it is that we do. And then, here's what we see for the foreseeable future. And here's what we kind of hope. And here are the challenges that we face. So that's going to be the 15, 20 minutes. And I ramble, as you know. And so we'll see how that works out. But I want lots of B-roll. I want things for people to see so that they get a good idea as to what it is that we do. Let me just make sure my wife is not trying to contact. Okay, cool. That's other work-related stuff. So this is going to be amazing. The trek back is going to be brutal, but if I want to get back on Thursday night, I gotta make it happen. And so good thing about camp is it's work, but I do get to rest. I have a really good chance up there to kind of disconnect. My dad's going this year, and he probably isn't going to go camping too many more years. He's in the late 70s, so Dad and I are going to get some time to camp, going to get some time to fish. It's going to be great. Ooh, I got to buy my fishing license. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for reminding me. So we're going to have a great time. I'm really excited about it. And it's the biggest camp we've ever had in the last easily 30 years or 40 years. I've been going for over 30 years. This is my 32nd year. Let's see. Well, that doesn't matter. Over 30 years I've been camping with this camp, and I've been directing it for maybe 15. So things have kind of exploded this year. Nothing that I did. This is just the way that it ebbs and flows with, guys having kids and them being eligible to come, and then them thinking, yeah, let's do a camping trip. Let's go to this Christian camp. Let's do all this stuff. So it's just kind of, come about the way that it has, but it has been pretty great. What's going on, Judson? Good to see you, man. Long time no see. Good to see you. Hopefully you're doing well. Judson's a legend from the Bird Dog days, just like most of these guys that are in the chat. You've all been around for a while. Hey, if you're new here, put something in the chat. Let me know that you're here, and become just like one of the legends of old. Legends of old. Yeah, long drives are pretty exhausting. Yeah, and they definitely are. I mean, they take a toll on me, but it does give me a chance to catch up on all of the podcasts I want to listen to, audiobooks I want to listen to. So there'll be lots of time for that, that's for sure. Hey, I feel for you on that drive. I just had a 2,600-mile drive over 5 days, 8 hours. then 5, then 6.5, then 5, then 8, then 11. The 8+ hour drives are the worst. Yikes, that is crazy. If I were just to put in Temagami, Ontario, and just do a general, because I'm not going to deviate from this plan, basically. This, like, once you punch it in, this is the way it goes. The only difference is I might go around Toronto, because, first of all, I'm not going to take the 407, because ain't anybody got money for that. So I might go up to Highway 10, which is, where is Highway 10? It's just above it, I thought. Or is it 7? Queen Street East is the one that we will take. So I want to go basically here and like this. Like that. And then, yeah, it's like, oh, you want to take the 407. 407 is a toll road. That is, oh, and the 427. I want to take the 427. Why? Why would you do that? I'm not gonna get off of the road and go back to the 407. That's the silliest thing I've ever heard. And there is Highway, Nobleton. Right? Where's 427? 427 ends here. Okay, and then go across 25. So then across 25 towards Canada's Wonderland. All right, so this is the trek that we would take in. Let's go ahead and... I'm not too sure why it has us doing this. Is it still trying to take us back? I don't understand. Guys, just take me down 25. This is so confusing. Maybe it's trying to... 427. It's still taking me on the 407. Dude. Queen Street. This is... Google Maps is struggle busing here. I can get on... Yes, I can get on here. Oh, it's because it's coming back this way. My bad. It should be like this. That's why it doesn't want me doing that. So if I switch... Okay, Fairview... Yes, so we make a deviation. Here, we don't take the 407 because the 407 is expensive. So we stay on the 401, okay? And then we go, again, I'm not too sure why anybody cares about this. And then we take the 427, and then we take Highway 25. So like this, yes. So that gets you around Toronto. Also, I have to go into Brampton anyways, which is 401 to pick up my father who lives in Brampton. So basically this trek, but he lives up in here, this area right here where that heart is. So I've got to go here as well. So it still wants me to take the 407. Dude, I'm not going to take the 407. I'm going to take Queen Street is what I'm going to take. Yeah, like that. Yeah. Okay. So the total trek is 17 hours, which is nothing like what NetHab just told us. This is insane. Whatever trek that was, that's crazy talk. I'm not doing 2,600 miles. I am doing 1,000 miles one way and then 1,000 miles home. So what's going on, Randy? I was a long distance trucker when the 427 first opened. It was gorgeous highway. When it was opening, almost empty at the time. The 407, it was long ago, I forgot. Oh, the 407, yes. The 407 was free when it first opened to get people to realize how amazing it was. And then they charge you 35 cents a mile? Or 35 cents a kilometer? Which is not a mile, that's for sure. 407... charges. The ETR, the rates and fees for the 407 for a non-transponder, light vehicles and trucks, costs, of course, they don't really put it. Oh, here it is. Oh! Holy smokes. It's 70 cents a kilometer? Whoa. wow, that is insane. And that is just, oh, hang on, you got to see this. What a ridiculous, friggin' Ontario, so silly. Anything to price gouge the citizens of Ontario. I'm not a big fan of the way the government operates in Canada. But look at this. At 5 a.m., it's 80 cents in Zone 1. That's over here in Burlington. The area that my family lives, outside of Brampton, is this dark purple and this orange. That's what we would be using, okay? Oh, and the pink. So the dark purple, these three, zones 5 through 7, we would be traveling through at like between 7 a.m. and 9:30. It's 80 cents a mile, or a kilometer. 80 cents. 80 cents. What on earth? Oh, and we'd be on weekends, so 50 cents. 50 cents. Dude, come on, man. That's the ultimate price gouge. How could you afford, unless you're running a business, how could anybody afford to ride on that thing? You certainly don't want to let Google Maps take you on the 407, because that is just to, and I think that there's like an entry fee as well. So when you get on, it's like $3 just to pass the thing, and then it's another. Here, look, monthly lease fee $5 for the transponder, or you can pay $31.50 for the transponder. To replace your transponder is $50, and there's a $50 security deposit on your transponder. Trip toll charge, $1 with the transponder, $1 without. So it takes you $1 to get on. What is this? Camera charge applies to a camera recorded trip. Unrecognized plate charge, $60 per trip, applied each time to a vehicle that's using the 407 without a valid transponder, and the front without a valid transponder, and the front or rear license plates are altered or not visible or not recognized. $60? Oh my word. Anyway, all right, sorry. So this is technology being used for evil purposes, and this should be criminal, the way that they do this. The 407 was built with taxpayers' dollars. Do you know that? And then sold to private equity. And by the way, the company that owns the 407 is not Canadian. It's Chinese. Oh, and by the way, the lease that they sold the 407 to was a 99-year lease to the Chinese company. So the money made on the road doesn't even go to Canada. Doesn't even go to Ontario. It goes to a foreign government. Yep. Good job, Canada. Way to think with your head and not with your wallet. Anyway, I'm digressing quickly. Oh man, that breaks my heart. I love that country, but they do dumb things. A lot of dumb things, especially to its citizens. I've lived in Minnesota and Washington State most of my life, but I've never been to Canada. I've been to Europe twice. Fiji is the South Pacific, and never to Canada. Really, you live very close, don't you? Or you used to, at least. That's surprising. Well, it is and it isn't, because I know people who lived in Michigan, and I was like, oh, have you ever been to Canada? And they're like, no, why would I want to go there? And I'm like, it's international travel. It's a different country. Like, what's up there that's not down here? I'm like, it's a different country. And they're like, nah, I don't want to go. Like, wow. The Canadian tourism really needs to work on its publications, because nobody wants to go, even from the neighboring states of the neighboring country. Things are a little rough right now, by the way. The Canadian, I don't know if you've watched the news, the Canadian and American relationships are pretty sour. But that's not what this show is about. That's for sure. I was in multiple gigs first, Las Vegas, then Denver, then returning through Salt Lake City. I'm lugging 10 Pelicans plus 5 tripods in and out of hotel rooms every single night. Oh, my goodness. Angus, I'm assuming to these 407 charges, says, that's ridiculous. It is ridiculous, Angus. Completely ridiculous. Some of our camera ops drove from Arkansas to Minneapolis to Denver and back to Kansas City because of sports. Oh, my word. It might be cheaper just to get a private pilot's license and do it that way. Buy a Cessna. They make some pretty good ones these days. Hey, from Warsaw, Poland. iPhone, what's going on, man? Wow, it's been an age. Good to see you again. Welcome back. Oh, Canada. Agreed. Sounds like a scheme the U.S. would do, not in Canada. You would be surprised the schemes that go on in Canada. My dad, for most of his career, was a real estate agent for commercial, and the swindling that would happen. So his job was to represent the bank's interest in writing a loan for a business, and the amount of dishonesty that went on that he discovered that would go on. Like he would submit. So his job was to write the report and to give it to the owner of the property had to get an appraisal on his property and then present it to the bank saying, look, this is how much it is. He had given people reports, physical books of like hundreds of pages, and these guys would scan in the pages into their computers and alter the numbers and then submit it as his work. And so everything then had to become much more digital. So then he would say, I'm going to deliver a physical copy to you, but I need to know where to email a physical or a digital copy to your bank. Who is your bank's representative? And I'm going to deliver one there, and I'm going to send one to the corporate office, and I'm going to give you a physical copy so that if you submit an altered one, not he wouldn't say this part, but if the guy would submit an altered copy, then the bank would know this guy's trying to screw with us. It was wild. There's a lot of... I lived in Southern Ontario when I lived there, and my parents have always lived there, my brother, and it's just been wild. It's been wild to watch what's happened. So, and sad. But anyway, I digress. So we're planning on this ginormous trip, and my total trek from Tennessee to a place called Temagami. Now, people who are not from the area or who have never gone to Northern Ontario might call it Temagami, and that's how you weed out the ones that don't know what they're talking about. People who have never been there and never talked to a local or whatever. Now, truth be told, I've been in the Temagami region, but I've never had to go to the Temagami city, which is an on Highway 11 city, okay? So Highway 11 used to be the main artery that went all the way around to Thunder Bay. There are now multiple routes that do that, and you can go through the U.S. to do that too. But Temagami itself is, I've never had to go to the city. I've talked to people from the city, and I know the city pretty well. You might also be interested to know that Les Stroud, who is Survivor Man back in the early 2000s, one of his first episodes of Survivor Man happens on Rabbit Lake, which is in Temagami. And so I think it's on Rabbit Lake. He gives the coordinates, and it's kind of like a generalization. He also does another episode where he is in a hypothetical plane crash, and he has a broken arm, and he ties his arm up, and it's in the middle of winter, and he's got to survive with one arm after a plane crash with just what he has off the plane. And so that one is also done on Rabbit Lake in the winter. So he is very familiar with the Temagami area, and if you'd like to see where it is that I'm headed, check out the first or second Survivor Man episode. I think it's the pilot, because he was submitting it to Discovery Channel to say, look, this is what I can do. This was before, by the way, before GoPros. And so he didn't have just little cameras he could set up and hit go. He had to actually have camera rigs and take it all in Pelicans, and then he would take nothing else with him, basically, and just try and survive. So filming a show and surviving is more than just surviving in the woods. So the fact that show lasted like 3 or 4 seasons is amazing. And the fact that he did it, and it just got better and better and better as far as I was concerned. And then he got a budget, and he could go anywhere he wanted. Anyway, so Temagami is off we go, and pretty excited to be headed there. I leave on Wednesday morning of next week. Hey, Alberta might make a change. I don't know what Alberta's doing, and it's so hard to figure out what's true on YouTube anymore and what's not. You know, you might have doubts about my show. I have so much trouble figuring out what's actual news coming out of Canada, because they have some pretty strict rules about what they can say on the news. And so what is it that they're allowed to say to the rest of the world? Who knows? Who knows? Anytime your major broadcaster is subsidized at the amount that it is subsidized by the government, I hope that it's truthful. I have a hard time believing it. Like, I'm very doubtful. You should call me Thomas. Anyway, I remember watching one of the very first episodes of Survivor Man at a film festival. It had to be almost 25 years ago. Yeah. I mean, we are, what year is this? 2026? And, that was coming out early 2000s, I think, because I got married in 2008, and I spent a lot of time watching Survivor Man when I was first married. We would DVR it. I would DVR it, and I would watch it, and my wife was not interested in it. But it was great. But several seasons were out by the time I got married. Boxes of mini DV tapes. Yes, mini DV. I used those in my early my early career. He is quite active on YouTube. Oh, nice. That's good to know. Thomas has got a bad rep. What, doubting Thomas? Because that's me. Thomas does have a bad rep. I think that's true. It's on back in the 90s we called him Doubting Thomas, but if you really think about it, Thomas is probably a lot like us. A lot like us. Or maybe we're a lot like him. All right, sorry. This is going into a strange, weird place. And I want to talk about technology I'm going to take into the woods. I'd say into the bush, but that's can't say that anymore. So I'm going to take this camping with me. And first and foremost, first lesson I learned last year. Hang on. Before I go into the first lesson I learned last year. The next two shows planned are, I'm going to do a recap of camp, how this mobile technology worked. And I did a similar show last year about taking tech into the woods. And last year I ran a very simplified rig. This year I'm going to do a little bit different, and I'm going to do a recap of the trip and show some pictures and talk about how exhausted I am. There is a 4% chance, okay? All statistics are made up. There's a 4% chance that I might try and live stream again. Remember last year I tried to live stream from my my little Peplink uplink box from my truck? It didn't work. There's spoiler alert, didn't work. I just deleted it because it was basically in and out like the whole time, just terrible. This year I have Starlink in my truck, and it's a lot more stable. So no guarantees that it's going to work again, and I have no idea how I'm even going to get camera footage to my laptop to do something like that. Maybe I could pull over on the side of the road and do like an update as to how I'm going, how it's going. I will be in Eastern time zone at that point, so it'll be 11 o'clock for me. Same time for you, wherever you're watching this. But I'll try and set a watch to go off at 10 o'clock. Maybe I'll pull over and try and set up something. I have a webcam that I could take and set in the truck, and then I think it even has a microphone, so maybe that would be better than whatever other option I've got. I could also take my little Rode microphone stuff, but there's really no easy way to connect Rode Wireless Go 1, okay, to the computer. My Mac has an audio jack, but I think it's exclusively an input. You can't turn it into an output like you used to with the old iBooks, or I don't know, whatever they were called ages ago. That used to be kind of like a dual, as far as I understand. Now, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I would love to get good audio. I don't know if there's a way for me to do that. Actually, there might be. I have a USB dongle for audio. Okay. I will add that to my list of all the things I've got to get ready between now and next Wednesday morning and test that real quick to see if that might work on my laptop. But I'm going to need like a USB hub though. Or two USB. Maybe I have one. All right. You're watching my brain function in real time, folks. All right, so I know how impressive that must be. So we're gearing up to go, and I don't have planned a show for the 30th, which would be next week, or the 6th when I'm coming out. However, I will certainly try and see if I can make that work. Who knows? Last year I pulled over into like a rest area, and I had like no cell service. It was somewhere in Ohio or Kentucky. Had no cell coverage. It must have been in Ohio because I went up to Ohio the first night. And so I pulled off into the rest stop, and there was no cell coverage, and so it was very poor, and it just failed all the time. I was trying to watch it on my phone and watch it, on the computer, and it was awful. So I need to be able to have a mixer of some sort. I'll probably try and get, I don't know, something, maybe OBS or something on my laptop, and then does OBS have a Mac version? Man, I don't even know any of this anymore. OBS Studio. Open broadcast software for Mac. Yes, it does. Okay, so maybe I'll do that, and I'll set it all up, and so then when it comes time to actually do the thing, all I have to do is plug it in. In the Peplink system now, I have Starlink as an external WAN, mobile Starlink, and I have a hardline, which I did not have last year. I was using the Wi-Fi, which actually has been a major problem with the devices in the vehicle, which is why I have a WAN port. The switches in particular, Nintendo Switches, has major issues connecting Wi-Fi to a Peplink 22G, I believe it's called. Peplink Antenna 22G. Nope. It's a... oh, yeah. Yeah, this is it. Peplink 22G is a flat window-mounted antenna. It has 2x2 for 5G LTE. It has 2x2 for Wi-Fi that gives you 2.4 and 5 gigs. Has one GPS receiver, which works pretty well. And IP55 rated. Adhesive strips, which I did use on the window. Oh, no, I bought my own. I bought 3M strips for that, which it says 3M, but that's all minor. And then, it works pretty well. $150. The wires are a little clumsy, so you have to put them and zip them and get them all tucked away. But then, if you're using it in multiple vehicles, you have to create a way to actually pop it out of there and get it out quickly. So that's helpful. But this little guy, the Wi-Fi on this antenna is not great for some devices. Like, I'm having major issues with Nintendo Switches, some issues with an iPad, just connectivity problems. However, the little Peplink unit that I have inside, which is the Peplink Mini... One moment, please. I know you guys know all this. I know you've memorized all of my technology by now, because, I'm so interesting that you probably have memorized it all. Here we go. I have the Max, the BR1 Max, and we did a whole show on this, so if you'd like to see more, go ahead and check that out. Cat 7 version. I don't know why, but this has been a great little unit. It's a little hard to find these days, just because I think of all the chip wars and all that stuff going on, but great little unit, has worked really well. The antennas work okay on it. The flat panel antenna is certainly better than these, but if you're taking this into a hotel room, it works pretty well. But this then gives you multiple bands of Wi-Fi, and it accepts multiple bands of incoming cell coverage and whatever. But you have to actually have cell coverage to get service. So it helps to have a backup WAN, which this thing will take. You can have it set as 3 LAN ports or an additional external WAN. And inside the hierarchy, inside the software for this Peplink unit, you just set the WANs to be the same, cellular and this port. And so when you have connection on Starlink, which is on my sunroof, pointed at the sky, giving me excellent reception, then you get download and upload speeds that Starlink has, which is somewhere in the realms of downloads. It's like 120, and uploads for me, I've noticed, is somewhere in the 15, 20, 30 range. Depends on lots of things. But if you are, I'm actually really anxious to see if the upload speeds will be acceptable to push a live stream. And if I can get a camera that's halfway decent, which you still can't see it on the shot, using this unit, hardlining in, not doing Wi-Fi, hey, let's see if this works on the road. And if it does, man, what a cool experiment. So maybe next week we'll do an experiment. Maybe. And maybe on the way home. If it works, then, maybe we'll do a show. So stay tuned, and maybe I'll put up a bumper just to have like a placeholder for the show. But yeah, we'll try it out. Maybe I'll also be focused on driving. Like, I'm not going to do it while I'm driving. I think that's illegal. But I might try and pull over somewhere and run the show for 20 minutes. So stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. Synchronize your watches for whatever time this is in your time zone. I should probably share some stuff, some of our stuff online, building a mobile network that can live stream and built for NDI and Dante. We're using 5G and PTP. Whoops, sorry, I just lost your 5G PTP kit for now, but can swap to Starlink, etc. Oh, that's cool. And Judson says, yes, they do. OBS. OBS is cross-platform, thank goodness, says Angus. Yes to OBS on Mac. Okay. I think we've confirmed it then. I'm not a real network engineer, so we use Unify to great effect. You don't have to be a network engineer to make this all work, man. Unify's fine. Evidently, their new stuff is pretty good, pretty solid, giving Netgear a little bit of run for their money. I'm curious about what chips they're using, because that dictates price. So it's fine. I'm not a chip snob. If the chips work, that's what matters. I don't know how confident I would be with like buying it for a big operation and installing it long term, but maybe that's just my bias. Maybe that's me and my previous history with Wi-Fi or with the Unify kicking in, but whatevs. All right, so on the way up, Mobile Tech number 1, we're going to try to use Peplink again, but this time we've added Starlink, and we're going to see if we can actually do a live show from there. I'm going to take my little webcam here. I'm going to take a hub. I'm going to take USB dongles, and I'm going to take my little audio interface that I bought between now and then. I'm going to take my Rode wireless microphones to have better audio, I hope. And we're just going to see how it goes. I'll do a test run today, see if my laptop can handle it. If it does, if I can confirm that the OBS setup is integrated correctly and can send to YouTube correctly, automatically, then there's no reason for me not to try it. The only question is access to internet, right? So Starlink. And if that works, then we're in business. Yeah. Okay, so that will be tech part number 1, and we'll talk about how that's all working and how the trip's going and everything. We'll do a brief show next week if it works. So that'll be fun. All right, so mobile tech, what am I taking into the field? Well, we do multiple things with technology, even though this is kind of a non-tech camp. And I have to be a little bit discreet with some of the stuff that I use, because we encourage our guys not to really bring any technology with them, to just be out in nature and enjoy the camping trip for what it is, and to be bored if they need to be. But, we learn how to be busy and what to do, and guys build things, and we have campfires and all sorts of stuff. The weather in Ontario is cooperating with us right now, and so the fire ban is off, believe it or not, even though all the news would suggest otherwise. The fire ban in Ontario is off, and so we'll probably do campfires each night. It'll be great, but we will. I got to be careful with how much technology I take, because I want to achieve certain goals, but I also don't want to overwhelm the people after I told them not to bring technology, to be like, now I got this camera and this microphone and this. But what are some things that I'm going to take into the woods with me? Well, the first and foremost thing is that camera right there. I am going to take my Canon camera with me with the big honking battery on the back of it. The reason for that is last year I learned a valuable lesson. iPhone lenses and pictures are good, but they don't do an amazing job. And last year I had a big group of guys that came with us, and I wanted to, every year we take a group photo. So most of these guys are long gone. This picture is from a long time ago, 2013, so I think it's safe for me to share this. But 2013, here's a group of guys that we took to Camp Manitou. Many of these guys are still with us. And that picture was taken with just a regular point and shoot camera. I think this was a T2i, a Canon T2i that I took that on. Looks good. I just had one lens back then, pretty basic stuff, but worked really well. And there are the guys at camp. Well, last year I took a photo, and you'll notice some of those guys have gotten a lot older. Last year I took this photo with an iPhone. And I hate this picture, not because of the content, but because the way it looks. I think it looks terrible. I couldn't get this picture framed right. Like there were settings that were wrong, and I'm sure if I'd monkeyed around but these guys were like ready to take this picture, and then they were going fishing and camping, and like I have them for a moment. And I learned that having the iPhone really just doesn't do a great job. And so this is this camera. This is a photo from a few years ago. This is this camera, and it just works perfectly. I have 3 lenses for this thing. So if we've got a huge group like we do this year, we've got massive amounts of people coming. I can put the ultra wide on it. It won't bend the image. It's just an ultra wide. It's not a fisheye, but it won't bend the image on me. It's a pretty cheap lens, actually. It's only a couple $100, which is expensive for me, but cheap in the lens world. But then I've got a couple other lenses that I can use for standard pictures, and I have a telephoto lens that I can use, which I think is sitting somewhere here on this desk, if I'm not mistaken. But my desk is so full of stuff that it is MIA. Anyways, I've got to find all my lenses because I have to take all 3 of them this year. Sometimes I don't take my the stock lens, which is, what is it, like 18 to 55 or something like that, whatever the base lens that used to come with cameras. Sometimes I don't take that one because I don't find I use it very often, but I actually do use it for the camp photo most of the time. And it's also helpful to have if you're taking pictures up close, because I used to have a prime lens which I gave to somebody. I think I gave it to my brother actually, and I just have these 3. So when I'm just taking pictures around camp, I like to have that stock lens. When I'm taking photos, when I'm out in the kayak, I usually have the telephoto on that one. And then when I am taking pictures of the camp group, I tend to use the telephoto, or I use the ultra wide lens. I also use the ultra wide lens when I'm doing nighttime photography, which is something that I haven't done a whole lot of in most recent years, but mostly because once you take 100 photos of the night sky, they all start to kind of look the same, especially with the same equipment. So you have to kind of upgrade your equipment, or kind of be done with it. So I can't remember what year it was. Oh, here it was, 2000, and I don't know how well this is going to translate, by the way. This isn't very many photos, though. There are a few years where I took tons of pictures of the night sky, and it was so not 2015, but there were 14, 15 house projects. Let me just look in my actual camp folder. There's one here. 2024, 23, maybe it was 22. I did this. That's my old truck. Yeah, okay. So there's a lot of nighttime photos in here. Did I edit any of them and put them in this folder? Burnt. All right. Well, I don't see them here. I used to have a different truck too. So this camera has to come with me because I think it takes far better pictures, and if I'm doing B-roll or if I'm doing a variety of things, I want the versatility of it. Now, this iPhone is now a 17 Pro Max, and so it's going to be a better camera, video camera, than that one. And so the next thing I'm going to take is my Insta360, that Flow Max 2 that I have. Flow Pro 2? I can't remember what it's called. But I'm going to take that as well. And that will be my Steadicam for B-roll that's going to happen on this phone. I've got lots of space on this one, and it certainly doesn't need to be 4K camera. It can be 1080p because that will be plenty for the guys that are watching this. So I can run 1080p 30 or 60 or whatever. I probably will use the Blackmagic camera app because it's awesome. It gives you kind of everything that you need for... Oh, and you know what? Does this phone... All right, I'm going to disconnect this. Hopefully it doesn't screw up too much with my audio. Is this... No, it's USB-A. I should buy a USB-C audio dongle. I'm going to test this on my phone. So my phone is now USB-C, right? Not Lightning. And so I could use a USB-C to USB-A and then USB-A to audio interface to try and get my Rode to talk to my phone. If that works, that will be a much better run and gun rig with the Flow Pro than trying to haul my camera for doing self shots, right? Which then makes me wonder, do I need to have the big camera if I have this one? Maybe I take, well, yeah, I don't know. The point was, I want the better lens. I want the camera. I want the one that I can manipulate all that. And I'm not 100% versed on everything that the 17 Pro Max can do. So it's probably amazing. It's probably better than this one at this point. But I'm not familiar with it, which is one of the dangers of taking new technology on trips and whatever and not knowing fully how to use it quickly, where to get to features. That's actually a real common problem. People are going on vacation, and so the week before they order a 360 camera, and then they're like, all right, we're ready, and they go on their trip, and they end up shooting nothing or shooting poor video because they don't know how to use the technology. And so one of the big things that I always recommend is if you're going to buy new technology, buy it early and be sure that you know the ins and outs of all of that, because it can be challenging to use new technology when you're on a trip and you're spending your time instead of being on vacation, you're spending your time trying to figure out tech, which is why, for example, if I'm going to do a live show from the truck, I probably should figure out all of the technology, how to set it all up real quick before I get in the truck. And then once I'm in the truck, I can have it all ready to go and mount it, and we do the show from there. So be very familiar with your technology, know the limitations of your tech, know how to get in and out of it before you're going on your trip. And I know that camera pretty well. I don't know it perfectly. I don't know every single feature on it, but I know how to get good photos, and I know how to get good pictures, and how to dial in the focus, and to use the data on the screen, the actual color data now. Thank you, Blackmagic, by the way, using all the coloration data to get accurate photos and videos and all that. So I know how to do that. It's solid now in the Pro Max line and above. Even Pro is great, but less bells and whistles. It's been really solid for us and our clients, even on the flat network. We're talking about the Unify network. Yeah, my Pro Max iPhone camera takes fantastic images. You do have to be careful with the ultra wide, since it will bend the image. Yeah, the ultra wide, though, I can get it. I've used the ultra wide in several camp group shots before, and it does not seem to bend the image like I'm worried that it will. But if you have a group of 20, 30 guys, you're going to need to see some real estate. So that's I believe this is an ultra wide shot on there. But anyway, all that to say, we're going to have to figure it out because we got 45 guys coming, or 43 guys coming. Most of the Rode Wireless receivers will go directly plug into USB-C to C to work as a digital audio interface. Oh, well, there's an idea. I do have USB-C cables, so we can run this test right now. So we're going to unplug my power cable from my desktop unit, and it's USB-C to C. This is an old one, though. This is what I'm concerned about. This is the old version, Gen 1 Rode, and I'm going to stop monitoring my show for a few minutes, and we've powered this up, and now I'm going to go USB-C into here. Now if I say camera, actually let's go to the Blackmagic app real quick. I know that you guys can't see what I'm doing. I wish I had a way to show this on screen. So iPhone, it's currently listed as iPhone monitor. So how do I change the audio option here? iPhone microphone settings, scroll down to audio, iPhone microphone, currently listed as none, or iPhone microphone inside of the Blackmagic app. So doesn't see it as an audio source, unfortunately. The new ones I know do that. This one, however, if I plug it in just USB-C, is it charging? Yes, it's charging off of my iPhone. Oh, that's funny. Funny, not funny. That's great. But yes, the audio source does not appear natively in the Blackmagic app. Now, if I were to go to settings, and can I just search for microphone? Microphone. Okay, there are no microphone settings inside the actual settings app, which is bollocks. So let's go to camera, and let's see if the camera recognizes it under video settings at all. Options, nothing there. Okay, so I gotta probably go to the camera settings in settings, more than likely. Camera, formats, grid, photo capture. I'm just looking for microphones, messages, formats, recording, spatial audio. Allow audio feedback, reduce wind noise, system, camera adjustments, record cinematic, formats, preserve settings. There's nothing in here for microphones. So maybe I'm missing something. You're way overthinking it. If I'm not mistaken, the Blackmagic Camera app will even let you select the interface directly. So that's what I knew as well. And on the audio, that's what I understood as well. So on the audio, if I plug it in directly USB, it does not give me any other options other than audio source none or iPhone. And that may be, let me plug it in again without powering it on. Okay. Well, now it's charging. So now maybe I'll turn on the transmitter, see if it knows that the transmitter's online first. Okay, so we are now connected via transmitter. Yeah, so no. Currently, that is not an option. The other way that I thought about doing this, though, is let me open vMix just to make sure I don't break anything, because there's a chance I will. Yoink. If I unplug this, okay, my audio continues. So this is a USB interface, and so perhaps, yes, I'm probably overthinking this, but give me a second. Okay, so perhaps a dongle will do it. Perhaps a little dongle will do it. So we plug in USB-C to USB-A, and then we plug in USB-A. This is the longest creation ever. Hang on here. I got to get rid of this. Okay. Do you want to connect your headphones to this new device? So, audio source USB audio device. Hey-o. So that's good news. So now, whoa, oh no. So it recognized that. And if I plug this guy, another cable into here, and then I gotta find my microphone that just fell on the ground. All right, and then we take our audio source and we go here, click, and then I'm gonna have to back down here. Oh man, check. It works. This is ridiculous, but it works, and so that's what I'm really happy to see, that, because that means I can use this microphone now. It's a mono channel, so we need to monitoring audio device, audio gain. So let's just go here to audio. Ooh, there are multiple microphones on this phone. Sample rate, record as mono. Check. Okay, so now we go, there's a mono channel, and we are receiving audio just as I am talking. That's amazing. It looks really good. This is going to make life a lot easier on the floor of NAB, I'll tell you that much, because I no longer need my audio recorder for that trip. So Yay for new technology, and yay that this is... Whoop. Oh, no! My computer just went to sleep. Okay. I'm still going, evidently. That's an interesting find. Anyways, my whole screen just went to screensaver. So, which exact Rode Wireless are you using? The Gen 1s, the first ones. Wireless Go. Full stop. Not Wireless Go 2. I know Go 2 do it, but does your USB-C cable not have data lines? Is it one of those silly 2 wires? Maybe. I do have other ones. I doubt it because... No, it's actually confirmed not, because that USB-C is used to plug into computers to show... to charge my computer and to show it on a screen and all that. So I know that it's not just a two-line creation. Anyway, so onward. So I am taking iPhone 17. I'm taking all those dongles. I'm going to take my little webcam here. Hopefully that works well with OBS on my Mac. I'll have my computer with me. Of course, all sorts of power to charge things. I'm going to have my Peplink, which will have a cellular antenna and a Starlink connected to it, and that will hopefully get me out to the internets. There's a good chance it's just going to fail, guys, and so don't get our hopes up too much. Don't raise your glasses too soon, because this ruse has also been a ruse. So we will be trying to get it to work, but that's the technology that I'm taking for photos and for video that I'm going to do for the Historical Society and also trying to stream. But there's one other piece that I did last year that I also want to do, and that is audio recording of our classes. So being a Christian camp, we have Bible classes, and we spend a lot of time, we spend money and time bringing in teachers who want to camp to teach the guys that are there. And so recording the audio from those lessons, I have no idea if anybody listens to it, but I like to have it, and I've done this for the past few years and has worked pretty well. I think that there was a year where I screwed up and didn't get the audio, but that was a real bummer, but that the audio did not record. And the lesson I learned from that was always monitor your audio. And so we need to take some headphones, and the ones that I will take this year are just my little in-ears, so I can just have one in and listen to it. And I will use the Rode wireless microphone to clip that onto the shirt of the teacher, and then I will then send that back transmitter-wise. These little things, all right, the Rode, if you can find wireless 1 or 2 or better ones, these things have been just really good always. I never really have any issue with it. Sometimes actually I get too much gain out of them and I have to tone it down. But the beautiful thing is none of those settings are done here on this transmitter. It's all done on the on this one. And last year I had the beautiful Rode Wireless Pros or something like that, which have a charging case in them, and they also record on board the transmitter. So if you lose the recording somehow back to your system, you will be able to still capture the audio. Now, that's the way I used to do it with these. What I'm tempted to do, let me see if it's sitting here. Yeah. What I'm really tempted to do this year is to use the Ambient 3DO. And the 3DO is a pretty cool little device that has these fun little earmuffs on it. But if you've never seen one of these, and I don't know how because they're quite popular, especially on the weirdos online, they have these little silicone ears on them. And what that does actually is it shapes the sound waves to sound the way that it was in the place you recorded it. So if you're doing 3D audio, okay, that's what this is, 3DO. If you're doing audio for VR, or you want your audio, so if you were to record, for example, a choral group, instead of doing a whole bunch of microphones all throughout your space, you could quite literally just put this in the audience, in the best seat in the house, and plug this into a recorder and hit record. this will record the audio as loud as it was, just as it was at the moment of production. And so the sound that comes from your choral group, or the sound that your band makes, or the sound that your lecture was making, if you've spent all your time and effort on a sound guy and it sounds good, then you can just record how it sounds. And the cool thing is you can say, hey, when you listen to this, put on headphones, and it will sound exactly as it sounded when it was done. So I could get a little tripod, put this in the perfect location on the Bible class point. We go out to the point and have class. I could put this out there, attach it to a voice recorder, and hit go. I could monitor the voice recorder, and it would record exactly what it hears. The trick is that you want this to be up probably near the presenter, because you don't want your rustling, if you're moving sheets, or if the class is writing or talking or mumbling or whatever, you don't want all that. You want it to be near the teacher. And so I think this year I'm going to do this. I'm not going to do I'm going to take the Rode microphones because I need those for other recordings, but I'm going to do this, and I'm going to record this I'm going to put it on a tripod near the teacher. I'm going to run a long cable, which I have. I'm going to run a long extension cable back to where I sit. Come on now. Oh, of course, it's all caught on things. So just a little extension cord that I can run back to. There's a little 9-volt battery in here. That's how it's powered. So I can plug this guy into the front of the 3DO, run this cable back to where I am, plug another 3.5 into here, into my little recorder, put my headphones in, make sure it sounds good, and actually capture ambient audio. The issue is that it's an open area, right? There are no buildings where I'm going. It's all forest. And so we're sitting out on the point, and the teacher's talking, but then he's asking questions of the class, and they're responding. Well, when we use these microphones, we don't hear the responses or what people are saying. We get nothing, okay? And then so the teacher's like, what do you think about that? Well, yeah, that's an interesting idea. What else? It's like you're losing all sorts. So I'm hoping that this will compensate. I wish I had a 2-channel recorder, which I used to. I used to have my Zoom recorder. This is getting kind of like out of hand. It might be right here. Okay, so it's not there. Whoops, my headphones just connected to my computer. Got to turn those off. So I have a Zoom recorder around here somewhere, and that would be a 2-channel recorder that I could record both the Rode microphone and the ambient microphone together on the same track. And that way I would get double the teacher. I don't think there's a way to multi-track on it. I think the new ones can multi-track. The old one, though, doesn't. And it would also be another battery-operated thing. The issue with bringing all this technology and trying to run it for 4 days, for like 5 hours total, is batteries, right? So then you're swapping out batteries, and you're doing all this extra stuff, bringing all this extra equipment. So it becomes more and more and more and more. And it's pretty tricky to keep it all powered and going. But if you're trying to get a good recording, then these might be the sacrifices you have to make. So that's the plan for this year. That's what I want to try and do. Ooh, I like wired stereo mics. I mean weird stereo mics. The weirdos online like me. Yes, this is such a cool device, and I don't use it enough. But when I was doing 3D videos with my Evo, there's a shout out, Google Insta360 Evo, a defunct camera, I figured out a way to put this. You'll notice that these ears are upside down, right? So if I hold, this is right way up, but the ear is upside down. Well, what I had done is I had actually taken these silicone ears off, and I rotated them, and I swapped them, because I was recording with my handle like this. So my 360 camera was up here, and I was holding on to you'll notice I put a little mount right here. I put this all together so that I could carry my little Insta360 monopod with the 360 on it and capture 3D audio at the same time. It's actually supposed to be like this, I guess. And now the ears are facing the correct way. So the microphones were kind of below my hand, and then the camera was above it, and I could capture 360 audio and video at the same time, simultaneously. And then this was plugged into an audio recorder that was on my hip. So that worked pretty well. It was bulky. I took it all the way to Alaska. I barely used it. So, again, be familiar with your technology so you're not hauling it across the country and then not using it. So that's what we're doing here. I'm in Tennessee. I'm in Nashville. And I'm traveling to Northern Ontario to a small community called Temagami, Ontario, where there is no running water and no electricity and no buildings and no nothing. And we are going to have camp for a week. And I have to figure out ways to audio record all of this stuff that I want to record. I also need to spend some time recording some B-roll video of us camping. I also need to spend time, supposed to be camping and fishing and, doing my own thing, but I digress. So, yes, the Princess Leia mics. They're our only hope. It's great. Yes, Princess Leia. It definitely looks like her hairdo in the first one. I've always wanted to play with Ambionic 3D mics. Seriously, it's so cool. I could share with you my first attempt at using this. Let's go over to YouTube. Maybe I'll try and find I recorded this right here, and I think I've shared this with you before. This was a memorial song that somebody had passed away, and so this is one of my first attempts at video and audio. We'll copy this, and I'll put this in the chat for you to see if you want to check it out after the fact. Where are we here? Let's go to this one. Yeah. All right. So this is a song called You Followed Love Home, recorded on this microphone. But I strongly recommend that you use headphones when you watch that video, because it will give you an accurate depiction of the room, which was a gymnasium, of the way that the actual audio sounded. Now, don't really watch the video per se. I mean, you can. That's not the point of this. The point is the audio. And if you watch it on your computer or on your device, it will sound fine. If you watch it with headphones, it will sound much different than on your device. So I promise you that. So that's a great example of this exact microphone being used to record. And I'm going to watch that after the show because it's been a long time since I've actually watched that. But this is a choral group from Rochester, now Rochester Christian University, formerly known as Rochester College, and then Rochester University, and then they got sued and whatever. So long story there, which we won't share just yet. But that video that I shared there in the chat should be a good representation of what that microphone can do. I have the Zoom H3 VR, which is a first order ambisonic mic. It's really neat, but I haven't taken the time to really learn to get the best out of it. Boundary mics can be a good option for wild audio from the audience. I have a Tascam 4 channel, 2 built-in and 2 XLR inputs. It was a big deal that it had Wi-Fi. I have the Zoom F6, and that does a good job in field recording. You can stick 4 AA batteries in it, and it also powered from an MPF battery and USB-C. Redundancy for the win. And then I've got a bunch of stereo mics. So Vanguard V44S, random stereo ribbons, Superlux, the S502s, and my favorite, the AT BP4025, which I think we've looked at before with you. Let me pull that up real quick. BP4025. Oh, that's cool. Looks like this, guys. BP4025. It's the Audio Technica. It's only a cool $700, but yeah, that looks like a pretty cool microphone. That's going to be your left-right, right? But this is spatial audio, which and you know all about this already. Where did that? I just shut down the wrong page, and now I can't find it. Here we go. So we have definitely looked at the 4025 before. So this microphone would be great for what I'm doing because it is so good, according to Angus. This mic, I'm actually really interested to see its performance this year because I could take the H4n and record to this. And sorry, not the H4n. What am I talking about? Yeah, the Zoom H4n. Whoa. I said the words in my brain, like I said the correct words, but I didn't recognize that that's what I was trying to do. So this mic, I would love to try and just to see how it goes, but I'm a little nervous about it being our only microphone. I actually think, though, it'll do better than the Rhodes in this environment because, it's got great windscreens on it, so it's going to be pretty clear. I'm going to put it up in front of the teacher, just kind of like if he's standing, I'm going to have it here so that the voices coming at him can also be caught, but that it is basically sitting as a student in the class. And then, I'm just gonna give it a go. I think that one of the problems I had with the Rhodes was that they have those cheap little windscreens that snap onto the top, and they'd always pop off. It gets windy sometimes on the point, so having something really robust. I special ordered these. They apparently came from Japan, but these little earmuffs, they worked great in other scenarios that I had these outside, and so I'm confident that this is the thing that I want to take. But how to pack it out and get it in there is going to be a question. And part of me wonders, I don't think it will fit in this thing. So, do I got to buy another Pelican case? Those things are not cheap, man. And also, they're kind of clumsy. So this is pretty robust. It could take a beating. So I may just protect the little switches and pack it with my gear. I don't know. But all in good time, my friends. Hey, I have one of those. I can plug a 5-pin XLR directly into my Panasonic ENG cams for Nats. Wow. That's cool. So I think that's what I'm going to plan to do is take this guy, take my little field recorder. I don't know if I'll take the H4n as a backup. I will have the Rode mics in case it just doesn't work out and I need to switch. But I think it will, and I'll test this. I guess I need to test this today too, because if it works, then there are gain options on the little field recorder. I think I have the F1 Zoom field recorder. I think that's what it's called. We can the F1 Zoom field recorder. It's just like a little belt pack. Yeah, it's just a little belt pack that you can strap onto your belt or whatever, and it's a really discontinued. Man, it was a great little device, and it just takes a little, standard jack. Pop that in there. Hopefully, the distance from my extender. Again, I will test this today. Hopefully, this isn't a problem because I would like to sit with the class away from the recorder and then wear headphones and make sure I can hear. But that's always been the problem, is not being able to hear the class. You can only hear the teacher. And if you do any sort of talking, then everybody misses out. This will also connect via power supply. So I've got this heavy 20,000 milliamp power supply. That field recorder will connect via USB micro. And so I can have a couple of these little breakout cables, plug it in, plus have batteries. So redundancy for the win, right? My question I have is, I would love to figure out a way inside this device. I added these little thumb screws because they came with Phillips head screws, and you had to get a screwdriver. And when you're in the field, you don't want to have to find a screwdriver, especially the literal field when we're camping. So I want to be able to replace the battery in the field real fast. So I bought turn screws that were the same thread as the Phillips head screws that were in here. So now this little top can just be taken off in the field real fast. You just pull the little muffs down and then unscrew, 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 and pop the top off of it. There's just a little chipboard inside and a 9-volt battery. I would love to find a different solution for a 9-volt battery. So, does anybody know of, for example, 9-volt battery connection to USB power? Like what I want, right? I want to be able to clip a little cable onto the 9-volt battery, 9-volt battery connection, and run it to USB, and then just plug in a USB brick to it and not have to worry about 9-volt batteries anymore. I don't know if that's a thing. There appear to be USB to 9-volt battery connectors, which would be awesome. Do I trust a $13 connector? I don't know. But I would just probably drill a little hole and snip this cable in half, feed it through, solder the ends back together, and then have a wire. How could I do this? Oh, it would be really cool to install a USB. Oh. Do I got room for that? Oh, man. This is getting out of hand, guys. Why do I think of this the week before? Have this cable. You could eliminate most of the wire. But have this cable plug into a USB pass-through that could be mounted to the back of this thing, and then you just plug in a USB cable from this. I guess you would need like USB-A to USB-A or USB-C to USB-A or something, right? Yeah, so inside is, oh, you can't see that. Inside is just a little board and a 9-volt battery and some stuffing. So there is room on this frame. Check this out. I don't know if you can see that. I guess you can't see it. Yeah, see there? There's room on this frame. It's practically half empty to install a USB port trying to think about how to do this. Like to both sides of this on the back, and then connect this via 9-volt connector like this, so that you could pass the data through, or you could pass the power through, and then you could just connect a USB port to it, or a USB power to it. You could also open it and still connect a battery, like disconnect that thing and add a battery to it if you wanted it. But yeah, I'd love to be able to get this thing. I have a step drill. Be careful of noisy power supplies if you're using USB power for your microphones. Okay, that's very useful information, actually. What does this say here? Yeah, 9-volt. So this must be the DC buck converter to 9-volt. Well, that's an interesting idea. I don't particularly want just a cheapo, but it would be really nice to convert it to 9-volt. 9-volt battery eliminator, USB cable, 5 volts to 9-volt converter. Let me show you this one more time. So there's a few options here. Let's go here. We got to do prime. So this one's by tomorrow. Today, that would be fine. I don't really need much cable because I'm going to have to eliminate most of it to save space. But then, is there USB-A pass-through port? So you could get something like this. Ooh, that's slick. The question being, though, then how, what cable do you use? And yeah, would it create a lot of noise, right? Would the power create noise? It's the thing about 9-volt is it's dead quiet. So this would be a great project for probably after camp, but I'd probably go with a rechargeable 9-volt battery. Yeah, well, there's nowhere to recharge it, so I'm just going to take a whole bunch of Amazon ones probably. But anyways, what a great idea. That might be something I look at in the future. But in the meantime, the battery can just sit here in the compartment. We take our lid, which is just any way, you don't have to put it on a certain way, but you snap it down there. And then I've got my little turn screws, which I've replaced. I've done a little bit of customizing to this device over the years. And then this will just sit on a little tripod. So I think I prefer my larger camera tripod, which I will have downstairs. My wife actually bought me a second one because I have a little spotting scope / like telescope that I like to use sometimes. And I don't have a tripod for it. The only tripod I have is has this confidence monitor on it. So I don't want to take that thing down every time I want to use my tripod. So she got me a second one. So that one will go to camp with me. It's actually a small rig. It's actually nicer than that one. And so that one will go to camp with me this time around. There. So that's as quick as it takes to put the lid back on. 4 little thumb screws. We put our Princess Leia cups back on here. And yes, you always have to... Funny story about this microphone. You always have to explain it to people. I have actually gone through TSA lines with this in my checked-in luggage, and they thought it was a device. And I was like, it's a microphone. It's made by a company called 3DO Studios. Look them up. And I said, it's literally microphones inside silicone ears, and it's just to shape sound waves the way that we hear them as humans, so that when you play them back, they sound exactly the way that we heard them the first time around. I love these devices. I don't even know if this little company is still around anymore. Let's find that out. 3DO microphones. I'm sure they are. Yep. And you can still buy this microphone. It's their flagship, apparently. $400. I purchased this one off of... Actually, when I worked for the college, I had them buy it because I was going to do choral recordings with it, and it made it super simple. But then I bought it off of them because they weren't using it. It was just sitting in a bin. And so I was like, hey, can I buy that from you? So I bought it off of them, and I didn't pay $400. No modifications whatsoever. Bring a power box and a solar panel. We have a 500-watt Anker. Yeah, EcoFlow makes great stuff. We have a bunch of EcoFlow. We like them so much because we became dealers also. We've been using them instead of traditional UPSs. Runtime for hours instead of minutes. Oh, interesting. Sorry, did I show you this? I'm pretty sure I showed you this, right? So this is their website, 3DO. It's been upgraded since I visited it. But this is that microphone. They have a few others that you can get as well. I don't know what the difference here is being the connections. They have XLR connections. That's pretty neat. And then Space Pro is in black. They also have the XLR connections on the bottom. The standard one, FreeSpace, is just this one that has the little auxiliary jack on it. But this is a good example of how they expect you to use it. Yeah, okay. I prefer to set it up, and I really like it for VR recording, but now I need a better VR microphone. Hey, same story for Olight. I love their AA and AAA battery chargers and flashlights. Ooh, that's cool. So let's just take a quick peek while we're talking about these things at the Anker 500. What did you say? Watt hour charging station, power station. Anker 500 watt power station. Okay, so you have the Solix. No. You have the 300 watt, 500 watt. Anker portable power. So this is this one you have? The 536 portable power, 500 watt charging station, camping, 9-port, solar powered. Is it solar powered? 9-port, solar generated. Where is the solar option? The case? No. It says solar generator. So where is the solar portion of it? And what's the weight? Because these things always weigh a bajillion pounds. Recharge to 100% in 2.5 hours. Oh, that's not this one. It's this one. It doesn't have the weight on here. Panels are probably not included at that price, but that looks about right. Okay, so you buy the solar panels in addition. Well, that's still kind of a cool investment, and definitely a great idea. You'd think that if it was solar compatible, then they would at least have a link to the solar panels somewhere, but whoa. This is a little guy for $200. Portable power station upgrade. And then all customers also bought. Where is it? Related items. Here are the panels. Okay, well here's the problem, right? I'm going in and I really need to function for 5 days. I need to function from Friday until Tuesday, essentially, and then I'm driving. So I need it to be I need these items to be accessible, quick to turn on, quick to set up, and then not super complicated. And then after the fact, I need to be able to basically monitor what I could look for is a battery checker, battery gauge, battery tester. Is that what I'm trying to go for? Checker, tester. Come on now. All right, so Amazon portable battery case with the tester. Battery test and checker. This is not for 9 volts, I don't think. Oh yeah, 9 volt on the top. Okay, so I could get something like this. I just want to check. I just need to be able to check my batteries in the field. And for $5, you can't go wrong. So something like this would be very handy, where I've got double A's. Do I have double A's? Yeah, I'll have double A's in the field recorder. I guess I'll have my battery bank for that. But double A's for the field recorder and 9 volts, which is really the question. I'm always like, when are they dead? Do I just wait till I find out? So there's that piece as well. I can connect solar. I can connect solar. That's what they mean. Solar generator is an industry accepted term that's rather silly. Think of it like a bucket of electricity. Sorry, I'll show that one. The 500 is pretty easy to single hand carry. Solar panels are pretty universal. Most of those boxes can take a wide range of input voltages. Just have to make sure that they all use the right connector. I'd take my Anker box and a bunch of solar without hesitation. That's you haven't steered me wrong before, Angus, so those statements weigh something. And yeah, that's a good, that's an interesting thought. Yeah, this is always an interesting place because not only do I have to charge phones, and I have to charge cameras, and I have to charge a variety of things. the power is always a premium, and it's not like we can just go back to the trucks and plug in our batteries and let them charge up from there. You're basically what you go in with is what you have. That's why I have a couple of different battery banks that I use. This one was given to me as a gift when I left. Actually, the office manager that we rented the office from at Bird Dog gave me this as kind of a going away gift. It's great. It's like I said, it's 20,000 milliamps. It's the Anker 335 power bank, and man, it lasts a really long time. What did I say? Anker 335 power bank. So 335 power bank. There it is. So it's probably no longer available, but it's probably this same version. $70. That one's same price, just doesn't have the little cable to it. That's a nice flat one. That's 100,000 or 10,000, and then for $25, that's great. So the question always becomes, and I actually don't know how much power my new phone is going to need over the course of several days. I try and actually power off my phone when I'm not using it, and when it's on up there, I usually turn off I airplane mode everything, because there's no point in it searching for Bluetooth or cell coverage or whatever unless I need to make a call. So if you go into airplane mode, the phone should last all week without really dying, a brand new phone at that. But if I'm using it to record videos, and I'm using it to call my wife, and I'm using it to check in at home, and occasionally I need to check the weather or something like that, it starts to eventually eat away at it. So I have no idea how much battery power my new phone is going to need in this scenario, but I will have this battery bank with a USB-C charging cable. It has a C-to-C on it, so I'll have a USB-C, and I can keep it topped up. This, though, will also probably run the voice recorder, and it will charge the batteries on the Rode microphones as they need it. Now, these microphones keep a halfway decent. The battery drain for an hour-long recording, and if it dies mid-recording, how do I know? That's why I kind of like the idea of having it on a different power source. But if it's going to cause audio issues, and the easiest thing to do would be just to buy one, right? And just to buy a cable and test it. And if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work, and we have to just go with 9 volts. But if it does work, that might be an interesting discovery. This was on a different web page, actually, that I was using here. Amazon. Boy, I've got a lot of stuff open here. Let's find that page real quick that I was hunting around for. Maybe here, maybe no, not there. What is this? Why is this even open? I can reopen this later, close that. All right, so I must have clicked away from it because it's not here anymore. So USB to 9 volt battery cable. So yeah, if it worked, then it'd be great to get it kind of set up. This thing looks kind of big, so that's going to be a problem. The space is a premium here, and that little USB thing might be as big as this whole case is. So it will be protected. It'll be well protected, but it definitely looks like it's probably too big for the case, which would be a bummer. And like I said, if it doesn't work, then I could always swap out the I could always just put a 9 volt in there, right, and call it a day. But yeah, I need to do some testing, and that would be the challenge, to do all of that and to make sure it worked, and to make sure the battery didn't hum, because I would need a battery at the recorder, and then I would need a battery back at the little belt pack or double A's. Again, batteries. I'd rather just have like pretty much an endless supply, right? But I don't know. It's hard to decide. It would be I if the audio is clean, but from what I'm gathering, at least from what Angus has said, is there's a good chance it won't be clean. So the Anker has USB-C PD, so phone charging is super easy, and it'll charge your battery banks if you want something more locally portable. Yeah, so like once I could get it into camp, right? Then you don't really have to move it from your camping site or your tent or whatever. Of course, I'm in a hammock. That's roughly 74 watt hours for a rough comparison. Hey, we've got 2 EcoFlow Delta Pro 3s and power our parade float with live music and theatrical lighting for 3 hours at 4,000 watt hours units. We can combine them to get 240 volts at 50 amps. My goodness. Did anyone else lose the audio? I killed it and reopened, and we're back. Hey, John, a 9-volt battery is supposed to last 300 hours on that mic. So put a fresh one in and bring a spare. Don't drill any holes. 300 hours ought to do it. What do I know? Okay, well, if that's the case, then I'm going to roll with a 9-volt because, yeah, you're probably right. Maybe I should just take a battery tester, just in case. Be honest with you, I probably don't need another battery bank. I have this one, and I have another one that's good. I've got another one that's bad. I got to make sure that I don't take that one because whenever you plug something into it, it turns off. But I have 2 battery banks. That should be plenty for the other devices in my rig. And then I have the big battery on the back of that camera, which if I will bring that battery, and that's how I charge that camera now. I don't use the little rechargeables. I have that big, huge battery that I purchased on Amazon. It's a DTAP battery, right? So if I go here, I say DTAP. The battery I purchased was right here, a newer mini V-mount DTAP battery. It's overkill, but it could also be a battery bank for my system, right? So this guy has a bunch of ports on. I'm not going to be using the 12 volt or the 8. I'm not going to have a monitor. It has USB-C and USB-A on the side for power. I kind of forgot about this one, but this one's coming as well. I need to figure out how to get it in there because it will have to go in a separate tech bag. But this one should also be fine for running the camera and run for a substantial amount of time. And then if I run out of power with this thing, I've wasted. It's wasted. I've been wasting power for sure. So I will take this primarily as the camera power, and then I'll have my phone, I'll have the Anker and 3DO and the field recorder and the Rode microphones and all the stuff. So it's a lot of tech. It's a lot to bring in. One of the things that I might end up doing is gutting this guy, buying a new foam insert, and then just putting all of my tech, all my batteries, all that stuff in here. So this was a Pelican Case 2100. I just want a foam refill for this. That should be like, what, $15? Foam! Right here. Pelican Case, middle pluck piece, gray only, Pelican. This case is not cheap. I don't understand why it's $80, but this case has also been around since like 2012, and it's still, the only thing I've replaced on it are the latches because one of them broke. But everything else is in pristine. Actually, you can even still see the GoPro mount on it from all those years ago, which I probably should take off because I don't need it there anymore. But anyways, this little Pelican 1200 is a good little case. I have it in orange, which I purchased in, 2013. There it was. I was accurate. So, all right, July 28th to 30th. That's too late. That's not going to work for me. So, are there any off-brands? I don't necessarily need the Pelican I don't need the Pelican brand. Let's see. Pluck foam. Pelican case. Whoa. 30. What on earth? So this is the accurate one for this actual specific case. But I hope so. Yeah. There was a dropout there. Probably just a Starlink blip. Battery testers are also pretty pointless. Are you near a Harbor Freight? I am not. I'm not near a Harbor Freight, unfortunately, I don't think. I haven't found one if I am. Geez, for that amount of money, you know, you could buy a brand new case almost for the speed that it would get here. Well, that's a real shame that I just want this. Are there any other sellers? Payments? Nope. That surprises me. Well, anyway, maybe we have to make do with the old foam. And I can plan that out. Pull all this old gear out of here and plan out how to get all of this other stuff. Whoa. Man, there are like batteries and cards and things that probably never used, never touched when they went in here. Whoops. Okay, well, this just broke right off, so I'll take that out. There's plenty of space, though, you know, for batteries and all that stuff. 1, 2, 3. Whoa, it's already noon. What was that? Okay. Just work. All right, so I've got room in here. I guess I'll pass on getting the new foam, and I'll just work with this, and I'll try and map it out to where the existing holes that I already have can handle the batteries and the gear. The thing that I'm not going to be able to fit in here is, you know, the 3DO, but I've got these like Rode microphones. They're going to sit in here nice. Definitely can get one of these out of here. Yep, this guy will be here. Pop that in there. Yeah, this will work just fine. And that way, that gear can go in a safe case. I always buy brightly colored cases just so I can easily see them. You know, that seems to be useful. So we have audio, we have video, we have ambient sound. I've got plans for photos. I've got a tripod. I've got plans for potential live stream in the truck. I've got, Dixon County. According to zip code, you're on your screen. According to the zip code on your screen, you're near a Harbor Freight. Yeah, in Dixon. Oh, well, I don't go up to Dixon too often, but I didn't know there was one in Dixon. Yes. Let's see. Maps. What's at Harbor Freight? I don't generally go there, but I could be persuaded. Harbor Freight tools. See locations nearby. Okay, so there is one north of Dixon. It's in Dixon. Oh, that one's actually like right on the main stretch. Right by Wally World. It's downtown Dixon. That's why. But I do know where Walmart is. So, all right. So what's there? I don't ever go there. Road cases, dude. Pelican Styles. Really? Really? You don't say. Apache? Apache cases. Let's just have a little look at the Harbor Freight website, folks. Ooh, wow. This guy's at $90. That's cool. Ooh, handguns. $15. Let's go. Man, here's a nice bright orange one for your camera gear. And what is shoot. Yeah, I've been known to hit up a Harbor Freight a fair amount. Nice knockoff cases. Man, it would be great to have one case. You know? Check nearby stores in Dixon. Really? Whoop. Unable. All right, well, we can... See, this is why we have a show with everybody, because I find out all sorts of stuff that I otherwise wouldn't know. Okay, they are in stock in Dixon. So we're going to make this my store. They're in aisle 9. So the question is, how big is this case? Let's just pull apart foam, because it has to be big. And oh, man. Shop all Apache cases. That one's... I think that one's big enough, but is there just one that's slightly larger? Okay, these are all of the cases. So 3.8 is the largest, $60. Let me look at 3. I know it's some smaller probably because it's a smaller number, but it's on sale until August 15th. It's hard to... I'm thinking, though, like I could probably get most of my stuff in here. What's the dimensions? Do we have a dimension screen? Like that actually shows the depth of the case. Yeah. Man, if this thing ever went on sale, that would be useful. In-store only, in-store in Dixon as orange. I could go yellow. That's cool too. So the reason why is I like to be able to look across the forest and see the case sitting on the ground, you know. So this would work, but my current Pelican, but it would be multiple things. Something like this, Pelican 1550 at $300. That's funny that they do that. Just a single case, you know. It's big, but it's just a single case. All right, well, I guess I have to go up to Dixon. This would be great. So, see, thanks for that. It's always useful information, that's for sure. Princess Auto sells basically the same ones here in Canada. I've been known to hit up Harbor Freight a fair amount. Nice knockoff cases. I've got quite a few from Princess Auto. We use them and we like them. Ooh, side quest. Also, I get a lot of heat shrink and zip ties from there. Disposable drill bits. Yes, I'm familiar with the disposable drill bits. Also, you need to look at Riv Nut Setter. I use it a lot. They are the best. Is that on Harbor Freight? Or is it a brand, or what is it? I'm going to Google it. Riv Nut Setter Tool. What am I looking at here? The Riv Nut Setter Tool is the rivet and nut. This tool cuts a key way into a rivet nut hole, which then facilitates the use of rivets with the keyed head. Closing the handle to the tool retracts the cutter blade, nips away a keyway for thin metal gauge. I've missed something here. Harbor Freight sells them. Amazon also. Okay. I'll have to check it out at Harbor Freight because I don't see it on their website. Maybe it's just because it's not at Dixon. But I could be wrong. Okay, well, so that is all the tech I'm taking up there. It's a little more than I care because I like to try and run as lean as I can, but I am the director. That's the wrong thing, too. Harbor Freight sells them. Amazon also. Okay, what am I looking at? Sorry, now I'm curious. You got to like... Riv everything is for rivets. Is that what I'm looking at? I'm assuming that's what it is. Yeah. That was a nibbler, not a riv nut setter. It's like a rivet, but a nut built into it. You drill a hole, attach the riv nut to it, and it gives you a threaded hole. Okay, well, I'm gonna YouTube this, and then we can talk more intelligently about this when I return. Riv nut setter. This would be useful for like tarps and stuff. Harbor Freight Doyle Riv Nut Setter Kit. Is it red and black? All right, I'll Google it for you. Or no, I mean, I'll Google it for me, and then we can chat about it. But if they're that handy, then I'm gonna check them out. Okay, so here we go. We're headed into the woods, and this will be one for the books. It's one of the biggest camping years we've ever had, and the most people we've ever had. And so we're going to learn some lessons. I'm really anxious to go in and just be optimistic about it. A lot of guys are already, it's going to be too many people. I want to find the reason why we want to do it again with this big. I don't want to necessarily be looking for reasons why it's not a good idea. And so I'm pretty excited to see this kind of manifest, as they say, and see what comes of it. I think there's potential for it to be a great trip. It's going to be a ton of work, but it'll be great, and we're looking forward to it. So, yeah, it's going to be a blast. Yes, that's it. Okay, the red one. Hey, as I always say, have fun feeding the mosquitoes. I've used it so much and saved the day. Customized equipment rack. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm going to check that out. So, yes, here we go. All my gear. I'm trying to figure out how to carry it in effectively. I've got other things that are coming up that are not really like my gear. It's like camp gear, so I don't count that as mine. But it does fill up the truck. So I've had one guy back out who is actually riding in my vehicle due to health reasons. So I have a little extra space, and we don't have to make an extra stop, but we will be probably pretty full going in. And we've got too many guys coming that don't have vehicles that can go into like the rough Northern Ontario. So we're going to have to probably have guys sit in the beds of the truck or something. I don't know how we're going to get them all in. But checking out seats, making sure, see what extra seats we have and all that. But we'll go with that. Most importantly, hey, I hope you have a wonderful time. Thank you, Angus. We will have a wonderful time. I love going up there. By about Sunday afternoon, I finally kind of relax. So that'll be good and have a chance to, take it easy. But my job for camp is right now, I'm the busiest for camp so I'm the director. This is the busiest part of the job, is coordinating all of it and talking to everybody, make sure everybody's ready to go, make sure they have what they need, making sure we're bringing the items that people don't have, coordinating who's in what car, how are you getting up there, when are you getting up there, all of that stuff. Typically we all try to meet on Friday and go in, but there are other camps going on that a lot of these guys are involved in, and so some of them are coming in on Saturday morning, and that's tricky. So yeah, onward and more coordination. So that's why we have cell phones now. Folding wagon, how far do you have to drag your stuff? So we drive all the way up, and then when we get off the road, we drive for another 45 minutes to an hour. Some of it is crawling through really overgrown, thick, paint scratching trees. And then we stop at the train tracks, and we walk our gear down to the lake, which then gets portaged across in canoes to the other side. Now, the portage is like the actual paddling is about 15-20 minutes if you're lazy, but fully loaded with gear can be a little dicey. So, and depending on the choppiness of the water and whatever, and the skillness of the paddler, that can be all of that is kind of questions that we don't know until we get there. But if we're bringing 40 plus people, you're going to have gear and food for 40 plus people, and that's a lot of stuff. So all of our trunks and cabs and all that stuff will be filling up with things, and it'll be good to actually 10 of my guys aren't coming in until Saturday, so that will be a handful of gear that's not coming in. But 34 people coming in on day one, or 33 people, is plenty. So we have a cargo trailer that'll meet us up there, and it'll haul in. But yes, it's quite a long time to get in, and the real work begins after all this driving. So 3 6-hour days of driving. After all of that, then we start to work. And I'll have enough adrenaline, but man, when I get my hammock set up on Friday evening-ish, and if I lay down, I will fall asleep. So I have to keep standing and keep going until we're kind of settled into camp. So wish me luck. I hope that I don't sleep the whole thing through, because that would be a total waste to miss this kind of untouched spot of Northern Ontario. But yeah, it'll be a ton of work going up, and then a brutal haul coming back. And I'm really kind of thinking I'm going to try and go for Bowling Green, because if I do, then the next day is another 8-hour day, but I'll be home on Thursday, which would be quite the run. So wish me luck. Pray that none of our vehicles break down. That's the worst, having vehicle trouble on a trip like this. I have just gotten mine out of the shop, and everything was fixed and buttoned up. Air conditioning's working, so that's critical. And here we go. It'll be a blast. Maybe I'll see you next Thursday. This time, 10 o'clock Central, 11 o'clock Eastern. Maybe I'll see you this time next week if my live stream rig works from the truck. Who knows if it will or will not. But I'll probably be underway. I'm going to probably leave from Ohio in the morning, so I'll have to stop and then do my broadcast and then get back on the road. But we will see how that works out, and there's a good chance it's not going to work, and it'll just be a short check-in from the road, let you guys know how I'm doing. I probably won't have VMix Social, so I won't be able to show your comments or anything, but I'll be able to see your comments, I hope. So that'll be good. Anyway, wish me luck. Here we go. We're going to start working now, getting everything ready to go. I have 2 services, almost 3 services I need to get kind of done in the next 2 days, just because I'm going to have no time to get that. I got to pre-record one today. So again, wish me luck. Lots to do. Trebuchet. Hey, have a blast. Amplify Jesus. That will be the plan. We'll make the most of it. And we'll see you guys at least in 2 weeks at the very latest. We're going to see you guys in 2 weeks on the 13th. We're going to do a recap of camp, how all this mobile stuff worked, what I'll not bring next time. And the next week, we are going to be talking about Tailscale. Thanks, Angus. I believe that this is your VPN, because I need to be able to control my smart home as I'm moving over to Home Assistant without paying an annual fee. So that's the next piece, and we will go down that rabbit hole. That will be on the 20th. The 20th, we are going to do that show. So hopefully I'll have some time to actually look it up. So Tailscale is so good. That's what I heard from you. So that's why we're going to do that. Parts are arriving today, hoping to have it kind of up and running by the weekend, and then hopefully have it up and running for my trip, so that when I go on the road, I can still access the house. Anyway, more on that later. In the meantime, guys, you can also host a WireGuard VPN, but that's more work. Yeah, I'm going for lightweight Raspberry Pi install, PoE enabled, all that good stuff. So that stuff's coming today, but we will talk about that next month on the 20th, which is basically a month away. And that should give me a good trial run on how does it work, and does it work, and can I do all the things I need to do. That will be next month on the 20th. So hopefully you'll hear from me on the road next Thursday on the 30th. Maybe you'll hear from me on the road coming home on the 6th. I don't know. If it works the first time, I might try and do it the second time. Don't know. And then the 13th, we're going to do a recap of the trip and the technology that I used up there, including my little 3DO microphone. And then the 20th, we'll talk about Tailscale. So the next few weeks are planned out, hoping for the best, hoping that we get to continue to chat in the next few weeks. So parts, don't you already have a Linux machine running? I do. I tend to buy a Pi per project that that I run. So I have lots of Raspberry Pis, yes. I have an excuse to buy another one. And I will fire that up today. Got to do the image today for the Raspberry Pi, but then literally plug it into PoE and probably have I hope, the VPN running by tomorrow. So at the latest. And that's if I get too busy. If you can probably tell, I've got a few things on my plate I have to do. So time to start making a checklist and getting those things done. All right, folks, it's been more than 2 hours. I really appreciate you coming along for this ride, and I hope that you have helped me out greatly. All the stuff that I need to learn. You've helped me out greatly. I really appreciate that. All of you that have contributed to the show. I might have to make a run up to Harbor Freight because might want to get a single larger Pelican case that can take all of my gear. That would be amazing. One handle to rule them all. One Pelican case to rule them all. I could even put like a Lord of the Rings, the One Ring literature on the case of it. But anyways, I'm going to maybe head up there later on. See, what time does Harbor Freight close, I wonder? This is a question I could ask off camera. 8 p.m. So now maybe I'll run up there and then we will check in with you guys maybe on the road or maybe in a few weeks. Wish us well. I'll have lots of pictures and stories to tell. That kind of rhymed. And in the meantime, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and we will plan to be together again soon, one of these days. Take care of your guys. Take care of whoever you're in charge of, but take care of yourselves. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Adios, everybody. Bye.
turn up. Let's